Hello, what is going on, Genshin fans? It is your boy Clutchexe, and I'm here going through Spiral Abyss for this week. I've gone through it a couple of times. This is going to be the final 3.5 Spiral Abyss, or I guess this is the 3.4 Spiral Abyss. And as we are in 3.5 now, I really wanted to start showing off just going through with these couple teams. You will get a little tired of these teams, but I've tried out a lot of characters in this game, and it's been Ayato and Child and Beluk, and I will try to mess around with all of them, but for the most part I've fallen into my main, which is going to be Sinnoh for sure. Sinnoh is my #1 choice as a main. Other than that, the other character who I've absolutely fallen in love with is Dehya. From a story standpoint, I've always really liked her character, and I really wanted to just talk about the state that she's currently in, as she isn't really the funnest character to actually play compared to how I feel about her in the story mode, but I'm kind of in a position where I feel like I just want to make her work no matter what, and so that is just kind of like the sword that I fell on. And I feel like a lot of people are in my situation where they feel like Dehya isn't living up to what he expected her to be, but they're still going to try to make her work. And like that's kind of the situation I'm in. I had a plan to skip Dehya. I didn't really want her, and I just was really disappointed with her kit in general. One of the big things that disappointed me the most was just what they did with her normal attacks. I find that they're weak for no real reason, and it's obvious that they wanted her to be a support character. So I really just, I was just thinking about never getting her on the standard banner, and I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna get her at C0, and I'm going to make her work. And this whole thing really started to make me think, I really don't want to spend my money on Genshin Impact if this is the kind of characters that they're going to be making for us, and then just throwing in the standard banner. That was just a practice that didn't feel right with me. And I mean, it's to each their own, right? I'm not gonna fault anybody who decides to continue spending money on this game, but my thoughts really were, I didn't spend too much on this game. Probably close to, in total in 3 years, close to maybe 600 Canadian or 700 Canadian. I haven't the last banner I spent on was Wanderer banner, and I wanted some Farazan constellations. I only got up to C4, and I just, looking around at the state of the game, I don't see a reason to keep spending until they give me one. This is supposed to be Genshin Impact, supposed to be, in my mind, I thought it was supposed to be a combat-oriented game, but it's not. It's not really how it ended up, and I don't really feel the need to keep spending to keep up the upkeep on my account, because it feels like my account is kind of, I'm in a good position with my account where I have Sinnoh. I can use him, clear floors really quickly, in my opinion, and I can keep progressing these characters vertically. In terms of what characters that I'm looking for, I want to keep using Kaya. I want to keep using Dehya. I want to keep seeing the strength that I can put them on. I want to keep updating my Sinnoh. I haven't been able to get Elemental Mastery, Thundering Fury Sands that I'm looking for, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I have I'm just now more focused on making the best out of the characters who I really like and who I have now, instead of getting new characters. And that's what made me stop and look at Dehya and be like, you know what? I think that Dehya is she's a character in this game. I think that there's a lot of stuff that they could have done to make her strong if they wanted to, but they just didn't want to make her strong, and I've accepted that. I still wish that they'd buff her. Haven't accepted that point, but I've accepted that this isn't the game to spend your money on and your time worrying about something as character strength. Instead, if they don't want to make their character strong, you shouldn't give them your money, and that's really the end of it. I'm still gonna advocate for Dehya. I still think she deserves to be a stronger character, but if they don't want my money, then that's on them, And so, I do want to talk about some things that I do think would make Dehya a stronger character in general. I'm just gonna fly through this list. I think that if they introduced like they removed the cooldown on the resistance interruption, which is basically would mean that every time that she'd put out her field, your characters would have that resistance interruption. I think that would make her a lot stronger and increase her support role. Just in general, I put tenacity of the Millilith on my Dehya, kind of like built her as a support. I also gave her the Wolf's Gravestone. I originally was gonna pull for her weapon, but another character I was highly anticipating was Shenhe. I missed her the first time, and this time I'm not going to miss it. And like I said, I'm not spending on this game anymore, so I definitely got to save the primos I have. And so I opted to not pull on her weapon, and I think that that is ultimately the best decision. And you know, I think that the Wolf Gravestone is a great weapon that you can put on her in its place, just because, you know, I have my Dehya on energy recharge sands, and so the Wolf Gravestone makes up for the attack, and then, you know, under 30% HP it gives 30 that 50 or whatever the percentage, I think it's 40% attack to your teammate. So I think that overall, like, if you're looking for a support weapon, that is a great support weapon that, you know, I ended up using on her. Next, I think that they should definitely increase her damage on her burst and on her skill, and remove the ICD on the skill, lower the skill uptime. So right now it comes up every 2.5 seconds. I think something like 1.5 seconds every time the skill ticks would be a lot stronger, and then remove the ICD so you can get more reactions. And then lastly, just increase it by, like, both the skill and the burst need to be increased by at least 100% damage. But that's just me, and I think that a lot, but I think that that would definitely bring her up to strength where she needs to be. So next, I just want to talk about her Dehya's burst. So in her burst currently, whenever you do a normal attack, you get the Roaring Barrage effect, and that doesn't count for normals, but I think that they should make it count for normals, so Dehya could proc things like Yelan's burst, Beidu's burst, Candace's burst, Xingqiu's burst. Right now, Dehya's burst locks her out of so many abilities, and she's literally punching, so I don't understand why they wouldn't make it that way, but it feels like it's on purpose. And, you know, one thing that I don't like is characters who lack synergy, and, like, I don't know, it feels like such an easy way that they could fix this character is making the Roaring Barrage tick for those ultimates. The last thing I would say that Dehya could really use is a better Ascension stat. HP is something that's easy to build. I still think that she could either scale off of HP or defense, something like that. But just giving her the Ascension stat of HP only hinders her. You know, she barely gets any damage from building HP, especially at C0. So, like, it only really buffs her at higher constellations. It just incentivizes you to keep pulling for her on her banner. So I don't really like her HP percent stat. I wish that they gave her crit, because even if they gave her crit rate, that would buff, if you're going to use a Favonius weapon, it would buff, like, just like supports need, especially since she's the off-field support who comes in, does her burst, and, like, leaves. She still needs damage too. So, like, I still think overall it should be better off with that support weapon. I mean, sorry, that support Ascension stat. So yeah, Dehya, overall, I think she's a usable character. I do like how little she has to be in the game, like actually using her, compared to Diluc, who you have to use so much. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.